Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're making a wallet and this is my take on one of Lost Dutchman, the wallets that he makes. I think it's called the Big Fin. Um, I've always really liked how his wallets looked. And actually that was another one of the people that I really was kind of following and trying to learn from. And this wallet, it's similar to the one that he makes, but I went ahead and made it so you can't see any cards or cash or anything when it's completely closed. That's just more, I like it more than the version that he made. Obviously, that's just an opinion. So that's how I went ahead and made this. I have my pattern here, and then I'm just cutting everything out. Pretty much everything that I need is already included in my pattern. So most of the time I don't really need to add anything extra. Everything is already set up and ready to go. Um, and that makes it a whole lot easier to try to create the same item over and over exactly the same. Obviously, since it's handmade, there is going to be a little bit of variation, um, but we want to limit that as best as we can. So here's a little trick that I learned. I just threw down some leather so I can cut there. Before I was always trying to cut it all weird and everything and using my left hand, and it did not work out well. So some of these things you just kind of learn as you go, or you'll see other people do them and you can kind of pick up on it. So this is our full piece that we want. This is actually the only leather we need to cut for this wallet. Here I'm just punching holes or marking my holes where I'm going to end up adding in snaps. So here I'm punching the hole for one side, and then the other side I'll just use a rotary hole punch, which they're very nice and easy to use, but if you have to make a hole that's in pretty far, you can't really use it. And here's some editing magic. So now we're going to set our rivets. I have a little anvil. I think these are 16P rivets, if I remember correctly. So I'll just knock those in. That one's in there good. Move on to the next one. The snaps are really easy to knock in. You can get a ton of them for pretty cheap unless you get like actual brass. I think these are just brass plated. So now we're going to round out the edges to our flap for where things will close down. One thing I did mess up here is I should have done my edge beveling before I did add in the snap, because it made it a little more difficult to go ahead and bevel those edges, but it ended up working out fine anyway. And I don't do any beveling to the middle part, mainly because it's going to be hidden inside the wallet. So I just do this part and then the flat part, since that's the only thing that'll be exposed. And I do both sides. And here I'm just using some Palo Santo edge bevelers. I think this is a 0 plus. Now we get to see me mess up with Tokonol because I put way too much water in there. And then I got smart and didn't put so much. But for most of my edge finishing, if I already have a clean cut like this, then I'll go ahead and just throw on some Tokonol and burnish with some canvas. Otherwise, if I have multiple layers that are glued together, then I'll do sanding, get all that sort of thing to get a nice edge so I can get that shiny, glassy-like look. But as far as these go, when you have just one layer, there's no need to sand it down because your one cut already has it pretty smooth. And occasionally, too, I'll go ahead and throw some beeswax on it just for a little more protection. I haven't done that in a little while, but this Tokonol seals up. The edge is pretty good, and it makes it look nice. So pretty much just run through, do those sides that are exposed. And edge work does take a long time. That's probably one of the longest parts of leather, especially when you have multiple layers of leather. So here we just threw on our stamp. Stamp is just from Amazon. You can get like your name and then a small logo that they have predetermined, but it's just something to mark the leather to show that I'm the one that made it, which is nice. We just marked our stitch lines. I use 4mm spacing for my stitching chisels. This is a 10 tooth that I got on eBay. They're kind of hard to find anything higher than 8. So I have 1, 2, 4, and 8 tooth kit from, I think those are from Weaver Leather. And then I just have this 10 tooth one from Amazon, which is really nice for long stitch runs. It's a whole lot easier doing that than having multiple of 4 or 6 or 8. And I try to space everything out the same all the way through, so then all those holes meet up, because the stitching is a little different. You're not just punching through 2 layers of leather. You're basically joining them by your stitching, which the stitching is a little difficult here too, because you got to make sure that you're not puncturing your through any of your stitching, and it's hard to find the holes because you're kind of in a tough position to actually fit the needles through, which you'll see here. We'll probably speed through this pretty quick too. So we're just grabbing what we need. We just went with some, I can't remember what color this is. It's like a beige, it's not cream colored. So I'm just throwing the needle onto these, and then we'll get to stitching. And you'll see it's pretty finicky. I kind of have to mess with it a little bit to get it started, because you kind of have to force the leather into the position that you want and then pull it tight. The back stitch for these is definitely the hardest part, because you're trying to get through that back hole, not hit the other part of the stitching that's coming through that side. And the further you get along, everything will line up, so it starts getting easier. You can kind of go through both holes, but you'll see at the start here for a while I kind of do one part of the leather, pull it through, go through the next part of the leather, just to make sure that I'm not puncturing through any of the stitching. Then you get all lumpy and you got to go back, and then the wax thread won't be as strong in that part. So here we're just about to finish up our first side. This is definitely the easier one, since the wallet's not closing in on you as you get further along. Just burn those down, push them in. So our first side is completed. Now we'll get into the next side.
know we out here riding, chasing the horizon with you. I don't need to look no further. You are the one, I'm certain, only one that I'll be holding. When you're loving me, it goes like, look no further, look no further. Look no further. It goes like, look no further, look no further. Look no further.
And this is the last thing we have for this wallet. It's pretty simple. Hopefully you guys can't hear my dog squeaking on her toy. But if so, that's okay. Just tell her hello. But yeah, so just finishing up here. Burn the ends, melt them down, put them back in, and then showing you here how the wallet works. You can throw your cards. It holds a bunch of cards, holds cash straight up. So a really nice wallet. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.